Domiciliary care is one of the most common jobs that immigrants in the UK do, but no one is really telling you what it's like. So today I'm here to share my personal experiences. Hi, my name is Chidima. I'm a mom living in the UK, a migrant mom, and today I'm sharing my real life experience on domiciliary care. This video is actually not to attack anyone, it's just my personal experience and also a way of creating awareness for people looking forward or trying to know anything about domiciliary care. Domiciliary care is about looking after people in their own home, but it's not like a living care and it's not like maybe a residential support worker where you go to someone's house and look after that particular person alone. In domiciliary care, you might be looking up to you might be looking after up to like 10 people in a day or even 20 people in a day, which means you go from this person's house to this person's house, from this person's house to this other person's house. And that's how it is. So we call it a call. So when you are in someone's house, we say you on a call. You went for a call. So let's say your first shift starts in the morning. The first place you go, you've gone for a call, that you've gone to take care of the person. And when it comes to domiciliary care, it's not like the work you do in a care home. It's not like what you do in a support worker, whereby maybe sometimes there is division of labor. Someone else is doing medication, someone else is in the kitchen, someone else is the cleaner, and someone else is doing the care. No, in domiciliary care, you are the lone worker, you're working alone, you are the person doing everything. What this means is that you are the one doing the cleaning, you are the one taking care of the patient or the client, you are the one running errands, you're the one doing the medication. In fact, everything that needs doing in that house, you're going to do it, laundry and all. So when you are a domiciliary care, your first call, which is your first client, might be needing you at around 6 a.m. So you start work at 6 a.m. and you may be allocated 20-30 minutes or at most an hour to that client before you move over to your next client. And that's how you do. It's actually divided into four. You have the morning call, you have the lunch call, you have the tea call, and you have the bedtime call. In the morning calls, you the person wakes up, you take care of the person, help them out of the bed, anything they need, from getting personal care to breakfast and settling down for the day. Then the lunch call, you help them prepare their meals for lunch. If there's anything that needs doing, that one is mandatory at every call. You check if you need to do the laundry, if you need to put away the bin, if you need to do some light cleaning, if there's any errand to run. And then during the tea calls, that's when you actually prepare for their dinner, what they have for the night. They have their dinner. This actually starts from 3 to 4 p.m. mostly for different organizations. And then for the night call, which usually starts it can start at any time, starting from 6 p.m. or 7 or 8 p.m., depending on different organizations and different individuals. During night call, you're basically taking them to bed, helping them to close their curtains and saying good night and have a good rest till I see you the next morning. And what this means is that if you're doing all four calls, you're doing morning call, you're doing afternoon call, you're doing tea time call, and you are doing the bedtime call, you might be doing it for one person, which means you might be going to one person's house 4 times in a day. And let's say you're doing for 7 people, you might be going to 7 people's house 4 times in a day if you're doing a full day shift. So which means 4 times 7, 28 times. It means you are doing a 28 call in a day. Yeah, it can be as hectic as that. And sometimes some people just do morning and lunch call and that's it. Some people just do tea time call and bedtime call. Some people just do morning call and bedtime call. Some people just choose. If the organization allows it, you can choose what you do or how you work. You can be working half day, depending on your schedule and what your organization allows. And sometimes for some people on a skilled worker visa, you are mandated to do a full day shift from morning till night. Now, where the problem now I've fully explained. I believe I've given a little description of summary of what domiciliary care entails. Now let's talk about the challenges. Now, the challenges of domiciliary care lies in how you do the job and how much you get paid to do, because I believe that most immigrants who work abroad are ready to do anything. They are ready to work. It doesn't matter what they're doing. But the problem is if they are getting paid, because most people work for the money. They're doing it not because, oh, it's so wonderful. Oh, yeah, we all feel empathetic for these individuals. We all are passionate for our jobs. We all want to take care of them. But at the same time, we want to get a decent pay to be able to survive ourselves. So when you're working and the effort you're putting in, you feel like you're not getting the financial equivalent, it becomes a challenge. For example, when you go for a call, you spend 20 minutes in a call, you come out of the call and you travel like 10 minutes to the second call. The 10 minutes is not paid. And sometimes it's not even your fault, because maybe your first call is at 6 o'clock, and then you to do 6 o'clock to 6:30 to take care of the client, and then you're giving me my next call at 7 o'clock. So which means 6:30 to 7 o'clock, the 30 minutes nobody's paying you for it. At the end of the day, you might have left your house. In my first domiciliary care, the first company I work, my first call starts at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, but I have to travel from my house. I will drive like about an hour, 30 minutes to my first location, to the first client house. So which means I have to leave my house before 5:30 a.m. so I can get to the client's house at around 6:30 a.m. for the first call. And what this means is that if I'm leaving my house before 5 a.m., it means I have to wake up earlier before 5, around 4, to get ready for the work. And then my last call at night ends by 10 p.m., which means after 10 p.m., that's when I drive all the way an hour, 30 minutes, getting home at 11:30 p.m. So if you calculate 5 o'clock, I left the house to like 11:30 p.m. I am coming back. That's close to like 16 or 17 hours, I don't know. And then at the end of the day, I'm getting paid for maybe like 8 to 10 hours. You were losing half of the time you were out there working. That's challenge number one. Most of the company won't pay you for your travel time. Challenge number two is the fact that when you do domiciliary care, you're flexible, but you can't fully be flexible. What do I mean? If you have a call at 6:30, finishing at 7 o'clock, and then you have to go into the next house by 8 o'clock, you have 1 hour gap. And sometimes that 1 hour gap, you may not be able to use it to go anywhere. I can't go to my house because maybe by the time I'm getting to my house and coming back, maybe it's a waste of fuel, and there's nothing I can really do. And the client doesn't permit you to come into the house earlier. You find yourself just hovering around the town or just sitting at one place, just counting time. So I feel like a lot of time is lost during domiciliary care, because there are so many in between times you can't do something meaningful. Because if I'm at home or if I'm in a care home, I know I'm doing 12-hour shift straight. I'm getting paid for the whole hours. But in between these hours I'm spending claiming that I'm at work, there are some unproductive time that I spend, and nobody's paying me for that. Sometimes then I just have to sit in the vehicle, wind down, sleep. In fact, some people might tell you, oh, read a book, try to do something, but sometimes you can't focus, because where I park the vehicle and where I'm trying to do the thing, there is no way you can focus on doing any other thing. It's even difficult to find somewhere to nap if I am to drive back all the way home for about an hour, 30 minutes. That becomes a challenge. that becomes another challenge. Another challenge I experienced, like I said, everything is based on my personal experience, especially when I started working newly. It's sometimes waking up to some days, going to knock in someone's home, someone you haven't met before. You don't know what to expect, you don't know how to navigate. You just go in there based on just what you've read on the phone. Now, you might think this is exactly the same thing with care. The difference is, so when someone comes into a care home or a residential home, sometimes you have a manager, you have your co-workers, there are other people surrounding you which you can share information with, ask questions, or even verify some things before you do. But in domiciliary care, I find myself going to knock at doors of people I don't know. It's lone walking. You're walking alone. You're your own. So, for example, during my domiciliary care, I just I was using the address to go to a destination I don't know, to a client's home. On getting to the client's house, at least I've just been like 4 months in the UK. It's not like I don't know the job I'm about to do, but you know that nervousness that comes with just going there for the first time, not knowing what to expect. I don't know if I'm expecting a bulldog in the house. I don't know. In fact, let me give you some series of examples of things that you just suddenly meet when you knock on someone's home for the first time and they open the door. I've knocked at a client's home, and then when they opened the door, the next thing I heard was the sound of, you know, that sound that it, tss, tss, get what? That's oxygen. I was like, is this an oxygen in the house? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I haven't cared for someone on oxygen alone. In fact, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. We can do it. But I realized that the patient I'm about to care for, it's actually a serious case. She can't be without the oxygen, and I'm going to take care of her. So first of all, you start doing a risk assessment. Like automatically, you start doing a risk assessment. What's the worst case scenario that can happen? How can I prevent it? What should I? You start. Well, you're trained for it, but that nervousness is still there. And again, I've knocked at the client's home, and the next thing I saw was just four dogs pouncing on me. And then the owner was busy telling me, oh no, that I'm scared, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm freaking out. Hold your dogs. And then I'm to come in, and the dogs keep following me around everywhere I go. In fact, I've been to a home whereby they told me that the dog at the house that has been through trauma. Like, how can you tell me that a dog was traumatized and you expect me to go to the house? So whenever I'm leaving the house, it's like hell. Like, it's like I'm going to, in fact, me myself, I became traumatized going there. So it's a whole lot of nervousness going to knock at a house you've never been to, not knowing what to expect and what's going to happen. And it's really quite challenging. I would say another big challenge of um, domiciliary care is the unexpected that could happen. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I left my first domiciliary care job, is in the fact that you are not there in the office, you don't know what is happening. Someone cancels a shift, suddenly you're doing some work, and all of a sudden maybe you have 4 calls to do, that's 4 patients to care for, and all of a sudden you're seeing 8 patients to care for. How do you fit this to your time? Like, it's you are being inconvenienced, and in care someone must care for people. When there is a patient, someone must take care of them. It's not something you can just wake up and say, oh, I won't do. Yeah, fine, even if you can't. But sometimes you look at it and say, if you don't do this, someone needs to care for them. If you don't go to this woman, that woman just have to sit there. She can't feed until someone comes to help her. So it's like you are in a tight position where you are not even allowed to make choices, or to do things at your own pace. Because when you want to cover a shift for someone, at least in a normal care home or care setting, they put a call, hey, can you cover a shift? Is an emergency. You agree or not. But sometimes in domiciliary care, in my own personal experiences, because I'm already on a call, you just wake up or you just open your app to see that they've added additional calls, additional patients to go to. And that becomes a challenge. Another challenge is the rushed hour. For example, this patient, when I come into the house, I'm expected to take my time to wake her up, take her to the shower, has mobility issue, doesn't mobilize so fast. I have to be careful, gentle, do the shower, do the personal care, help dress the patient, bring the patient out, sit her down, prepare the meal, do the medication, write all the recordings, check for the laundry, do all those things, and you are allocating for me 15 minutes. You're allocating 15 minutes for me to do all those things. Then you find yourself rushing. You are not rushing because, oh, you could say, oh, it's fine, let them pay me for the 15 minutes, but I'm going to take my time to do it. No, it doesn't work that way. Because if it's 15 minutes, maybe you're finishing at 7:15. Maybe there is already another call for you at 7:20. So even if you decide to take your time and do the job well, you might be late for your another call, which is starting at 7:20. You see the problem of rushed hour. So there is quite a lot of challenges. So somehow we can make do with this, but the first challenge, which is what I mentioned, financial issues, makes it more difficult for people working in domiciliary care. Now, all this challenge is not to discourage anyone going into domiciliary care. Like I said, these are my personal experience. Some other people might have had easier experiences, but it's just for an awareness purposes. Even after all this, I still got into domiciliary care once again at some point before I left it again. It's just for you to know what you're getting into. Maybe you can prepare ahead, for example, by living within the location where you're caring for people, having your own car, seeing how you can make plans, or seeing what package the organization is providing for you. So you can take it as some lessons learned that when you're getting into domiciliary care, one, you need to live around the location where you're working so you reduce travel times. Two, you need to understand the organization package, payments and all to travel time and all. Secondly, you need to have a car. At least you need to have a car. And when you live closer to your place, you will fuel the car less so you don't pay so much money for in the car. Then your experiences, your self-confidence, you need to take enough training to be able to face challenges because you don't know where you are going, you don't know the patient or the next client, you don't know the accident that might happen in that home. So you need to be well equipped and have a full knowledge of all this. And also, these are my personal experiences, and I believe you can actually take out some lessons from it, uh, being a domiciliary care worker. So So I would say that being a domiciliary carer is not so easy, but it's an honest job. It's a rewarding career. It's something that you can make meaningful out of it. If you have been the domiciliary carer, you might have a different story. You can use the comment section to tell us about yours. This is me sharing my own personal story, and I hope it helps someone out there, and I hope it motivates someone. So before you get into it, make sure you're prepared. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you are in for anything immigration, international student, working abroad, lifestyle, you are immigrant mom, this is the page for you. I share my personal experiences on how I'm navigating life as an immigrant mom living in the UK, lifestyle, motherhood, and all that. Just a little bit of everything. So don't forget to subscribe to my page, share, comment, and like. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.